Welcome back to another podcast episode of Skader Things. And I am joined today with Evan, Obby, and we have a very, very special guest today, Ren Elf, but we just call her Ren. So, hey, Ren.
Hey. Hi,
Ren. Let's go. And so this excited. Is episode 4. This is our 4th one, so we're very, very excited. We're 4 years old, guys. Just kidding. We're
That's
more like
crazy. Wow. I didn't think we'd make it past 3.
The terrible 2s were pretty rough for a couple of us. So yeah. Is your hair growing back yet, Evan? Yeah. Okay.
It's finally.
It was a few rough years.
It wasn't good.
Just a couple rough years. On your monocle has turned gray. You know.
You're looking. It has been a rough few years for you.
It really looks like it's been a rough year.
When you've gone through the life that I have, it's no surprise that I aged so quickly. It's like I've got wrinkles everywhere. I've got grayed hair. Like my mind and my body are just suffering.
And for those that remember 2 episodes ago, he just turned 21.
I had.
That was in our first episode.
That was our first episode. It was the night before. Yep.
He just turned 21. He doesn't look a day over 80.
I know. Exactly. You're right. Maybe, I don't know. It's getting a little closer to 90 looking.
I'm probably more. Hey, I'm 78 and a half years old physically.
Wow. Congrats on living to 78. A lot of people don't make it there.
I know. I'm better than
It feels like a little, I don't know.
Feels like after 76, we just give up, right?
I know, right? I'm like, are you able to wipe yourself still? That's kind of my thing. Like,
that's kind of like. I've never wiped myself.
I was just gonna say that's a dumb question.
It's like I've never wiped myself
there yet.
Before.
Maybe one day. You know what? I believe in you. One day.
I mean, if I ever get old and senile to the point that I need to start wearing diapers again. Yeah, I wear diapers as a baby, didn't you?
Pull the plug.
I mean,
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like I was probably just a wild child that just ran through the forest and went in the woods, yeah.
Did you wipe with the leaves or the poison ivy?
I was probably more of a bark person, not knowing.
Yeah, I can see that.
More.
Find a nice fern, just,
a nice fern.
So, Ren, welcome to Skader Things. As you can see, it's all topics and every topic, including, wiping your bum with some ferns out in the woods at age 2. It's wonderful.
Wiping your 80-year-old ass.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Better than having diapers, right?
Yeah. I'm looking, part of me is like, I am excited and looking forward to getting like super old because like old people, they give no fucks, right? Like they wear what they want. Like it doesn't have to match. Especially like some of the older women. And I'm just like, that's my vibe. Like I'm already doing that now. And I think when I'm older, it's just going to be cool. Plus I have so many tattoos and like piercings and stuff that like, I want to see what a really old, like cool lady looks like. You know what I mean? Like, still wearing bands and like, like
cool.
A little
basically
bit,
an old lady that's dressing in like millennial attire.
Basically, yes, right. But now, my tattoos are gonna be all like changed, like because skin changes but it'll be fun.
I think when you get to a certain age, you have to abide by the code of dressing like an old person. Sadly, I've not seen any old person like wear
like
jeans.
Oh, see, I want to be like that old person. Like I want to still wear like Vans and ripped jeans, ripped skinny jeans and, Thrasher hoodie or whatever it is. And, still have my head, colored like blue or whatever and piercings. And yeah, like I mean, clearly that's not going away. So I'm just going to be that old person. That or I just won't make it that long.
To be fair, there's a lot of old women who just have amazing fashion sense. Like
I don't have that yet though. When do I get that? Does that come soon?
I think it's like something you get in your 70s. Since you're already 102, you probably just won't get it at this point.
I think at this point, I'm just a lost cause with fashion. Yeah. I think everybody that knows me would agree on that one.
See, doesn't that itself contradict the entire point, right? If you're an old person, you don't care about what you wear anymore. At that point, there is no such thing as fashion sense.
Well,
There's I wear what I fucking want.
And
you know what? When you're going out for public appearances, you're still going to care about your like how you appear usually.
That's
you're not going to a wedding in like cargo shorts. Unless you're really
not.
I mean, society decided this a long time ago, but it doesn't mean you can't break it away from the norm as an elderly person. What are they going to do? Like, wish you away? It'll only be a few years until you drop off anyway. You might as well have fun at the wedding.
Imagine like Evan and I in like a retirement home, like we'd be like, he'd be like wheelchairing his, his wheelchair down, and I would like purposely like put a wood in his spoke and make him fly out. And
you know what's funny? This is not even the first time you have imagined this scenario.
Too bad we have an
out
age
loud.
gap, because that would be fun.
This is the first time you've ever. Sorry, this is not the first time. This is not even the first time you have imagined this scenario, which I think is funny, like out loud.
It's not an imagined
yeah, you've done this
thing. It's
before.
like that would be really funny. Like, I think it needs to happen.
Oh, okay,
we should have a wheelchair race in real life. We should do that.
Honestly, you're talking about this, and it reminds me of the old DnD campaign we used to have on Skade, when you just had no legs whatsoever.
Oh, when you had no legs.
That was okay. So Ren, it's not my fault. I never played D&D before, and I didn't really know exactly like what we're supposed to do. And I was told by what do you guys call that person? The master?
The DM, the dungeon master.
The DM. So the DM was like, you have to create your character. And I'm like, me, spaz. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want legs. And you could tell that they were like not the happiest with me for suggesting that. But everybody else in the call is like, oh, yeah. And then poor Volky, like every time I made Volky carry me like on his shoulders, like through like all of the like tasks, or not tasks. What do you call those quests? Or I don't even know.
Yeah,
saving the days, whatever.
Every like party has that one.
Me. Yeah. I was the one that's like, can I roll for something ridiculous? But it was fun. And Volky was fun. We even have art. Somewhere there's like a picture of him carrying me.
It's like that's the point of D&D, and a good DM will entertain the players and let them like do like what they want to a degree. Like, so in the Starfinder campaign I'm doing, it's going very, very slowly, but we're having so much fun, and we have like one person in our group who plays like a doctor. And so there will be some scenarios where he'll like lie to people and say, oh goodness, it looks like you've got a terrible heart condition. They're like, I do. And then he's like, yes, you're going to have to give me 800 credits to fix this. And he just gives him some water. It's so funny. Like, but you just, every party has that. Every party has that one really out of control like, person. You were, but sometimes it just makes it more fun.
Next time we have a D&D campaign, Blue, I will go armless and you can go legless. Yay! And then I'll be your legs and you can be my arms.
Me? I even there was one time I'm like, can I roll for like Volky using me as a weapon and throwing me into whatever it was? And I can't remember.
I remember
like a
this.
Cannonball, because I don't have legs. I could just like, fly in, and you could tell it was like, okay. And I think I got it. And I think I rolled for it.
Yes,
I did damage. Ren, I did damage. I was good. Nice. I saved the day.
My favorite thing, this was a one shot, and this was a few years ago. I was playing with my old friends like on the D&D campaign, and at one point like I killed this guy. And so what the DM would do, and he was really good at this, is he would like let you decide how you killed the person, so you could imagine it and you could like roleplay it. So I was like, I decapitate him. And then I said to the DM, because then it becomes like canon, like, oh, the guy has no head. And I was like, actually, DM, when it came back to my turn again, I was like, DM, can I kick this guy's skull like a football into somebody else? And he's like, okay, if you roll a perfect 20, I will let you do this. And guess what? I fucking rolled a perfect. Yep. Guy got instantly killed.
Don't call it perfect. It's a nat 20. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it is. The guy got literally instantly killed by his friend's skull landing on his forehead, and it was like the funniest, like one of my favorite memories from D&D was that.
Is it like one of those cartoon scenes where like in old Looney Tunes where they would just like pitch a ball at a person's head and like the ball becomes their head in that kind of scene?
Yeah, basically. Pretty much.
Head swap. Well, speaking of D&D in my opinion, D&D is like a very big catalyst for a lot of stories. And I think a lot of stories like, I would say even Breaking Bad to an example, but specifically in anime, definitely. They take aspects from D&D to make their stories. And in fact, one anime that I know both Rin and me both love, Overlord, was actually originally supposed to be a D&D campaign from the author of the light novels, but he made it into an entire anime and light novel series.
Yep, and it's extremely popular.
It is extremely popular. I do remember back when we were doing the Skade D&D campaign, I was looking through like gods online, like on this website for like me to pray to, or like me to be my religious figure to. And the second one was literally Ainzul and I was like, wow, that is amazing. I ended up not choosing him, but like, dang, I could have been a believer of Ainzul in Skade D&D.
But you weren't.
I know. To be fair, at the end of the day, I chose Lugia from Pokemon because my entire gimmick was like I was wanting a silver wing or something like that. But Overlord. I just finished season 4 recently. Where are you at in it, Rin?
I finished season 4 and I rewatched it like once or twice. I tend to rewatch it when it's coming up because the movie's coming out soon, and Lord again wants to rewatch it from season 1 to season 4.
Oh, there's a movie coming out of it?
Yeah, it's actually coming out this month.
Oh, really? This
month. Yeah.
Okay, well, good that I just watched it like 2 months ago. So it's still fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it's to do with the next arc. I believe the film is based on basically the religious side, that side of the continent, because they didn't want to put it into a season, so they put it into a movie.
Yeah,
like most anime.
That's been a trend that's been happening in a lot of anime. It started with, I think, no, My Hero Academia's movies are not canon, but I know Jujutsu Kaisen has Zero, which is canon. Then Chainsaw Man is doing a movie for its next thing instead of a next season. Then you have Demon Slayer with the Tengen movie and like the 3 trilogy movie that they're coming out for the final arc and stuff. It is very interesting seeing how anime has been transitioning to like having movie productions for this kind of stuff.
Instead of you're saying like a season.
Yeah. Like some arcs are just too small to fit into an entire season. So I understand where they're coming from with a lot of things. But also it's like, I have a gripe about this with specifically Demon Slayer. It is a very popular anime. Probably the most popular anime in the world right now. But
yeah,
they did a thing where they condensed a entire arc into a movie called the Tengen Train Arc or something like that. I forgot what it was called, but it was like they were on a train to go somewhere and they were facing off against this powerful demon of some sort. And they condensed it all into a movie. It was a really well-made movie and everything like that. But then for some reason, when the next season rolled around, they decided to readapt the entire movie into 7 episodes. And for some reason, they made the episodes itself better animated than the actual movie. You would think like a movie that you wanted to have a theatrical release to, you would make sure that's the priority and make sure that one is the one that looks the best. But no, they were like, oh, we're going to flex by having the anime itself look better than the movie. The movie still looked phenomenal. It's just like they outdid themselves with the episodes for some reason.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I've noticed with like either the anime movies are a lot, obviously you expect them to be better, but sometimes they're like, wow, this is like really production has gone wild with it. But then sometimes you'll see an anime movie and it's like, wow, where did the budget go? This is like worse than the anime.
Speaking of animation production and stuff like that, have you been watching One Piece recently?
I have not been watching One Piece recently. I stopped at the Wano arc. I did not want to. I was like, I need to stop at some point. I'm going to stop now before I get like angry that I can't continue watching. So I haven't watched or kept up to any One Piece stuff since then. Since like Luffy got out of the prison in Wano, I stopped. So
okay, that's a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I know that this is like, I know I'm jumping in here, but like, speaking of One Piece, and this really applies to Rin, did you know, I only found this out yesterday, Rin, did you know that literally every episode of One Piece is on BBC iPlayer? I don't know if it's every episode, but they have episodes 1 through 516. So like East Blue until the Summit
116.
War.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Literally, it's just on there. Like I found it yesterday out of nowhere, and I was like, "What?" And apparently on the 24th of November, sagas 7 through 8 are coming as well. So there'll be even more One Piece. Yeah, it's just all on BBC iPlayer. This won't mean anything to Obby or Blue because this is like our British like. The BBC has like a thing called iPlayer where they have like drama shows and like certain documentaries like on there, and yeah, One Piece is just casually on there.
That's
Well,
crazy.
now you go watch it.
I have no excuse, really, do I?
Yeah, you got no excuse. You go watch it.
If I remember correctly,
have said anything.
So right after Summit War, I'm guessing what you mean by 7 and 8. Obviously, you're not a One Piece fan, so you wouldn't know. But 7 would probably be Fisherman Island Saga, and then if they're doing an entire saga, it'd probably be Dressrosa after that, including Punk Hazard.
Okay.
Because I don't think Punk Hazard counts as its own saga because it's too short. And then you have Whole Cake Island, which would be 9. Then Wano, 10. And then Egghead Island would be 11. And then we're about to enter Elbaf. Okay. I am a One Piece fanatic, just so everyone knows.
I can't even comprehend dissect. It's just so much.
Well, honestly, it's a good thing that you did stop at Wano, because you're about to be blown away from the rest of Wano after the prison. Especially because Wano is such a good arc to have pauses in, because it separates it into 3 different acts anyway. And they have very good stopping points within the mid-arc, because it is a very long arc. It is the longest arc in all of One Piece at like 150-something chapters, I think, or something. Like a little less than 150. So it's going to be a whole shit ton of episodes. But they really, for some reason, they decided to just go balls to the wall with the animation in like Act 3 of Wano all the way up to where we are now in the anime. And recently they just announced that they're planning a hiatus for the anime to let Oda catch up on more of the manga and to increase their production value and like animation and stuff like that, techniques wise, for the anime. And right now they're doing a re-adaptation of Fisherman Island, which I have not watched yet, but the first episode came out like last Friday, and I am super excited to go through that one through Fisherman Island again, because I do not remember anything of Fisherman Island whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
So remember when we were talking about how we shouldn't have one person dominating the conversation the entire time, Blue?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say, speaking of anime, I have actually something I can contribute, and that is in our What Are We Playing session we just had. Lord agreed to watch the anime that you own that you still haven't watched, which is the only anime movie I've ever watched, and that is
Grave
the
of Fireflies.
Yep, and Lord agreed to watch it, which means Ren's gonna watch it too, right, Ren? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got no choice. When he watched it, I have to watch it.
So then I'll have somebody to talk to. So I'm excited. I watched this anime a few years back. A friend had me watch it, and I cried, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm not an anime person, as you guys know, and I'm just like, I was like, "Fine, I'll watch it," and I just fucking loved it. It was amazing. And then, of course, you got me watching Fruit Loops, and then that was good. Which we never finished.
Fruit Loops, she means Fruit Baskets, but
Fruit Baskets. Yep.
Fruits Basket.
And
okay.
And then Freerin, of course, is badass. Fucking love that girl. And now,
have you watched any since the last time? Like you stopped at episode 6.
Episodes. Do you know Magic is actually on me more about it than you are?
I mean, yeah, because I know if I keep pestering you about it, you're going to watch it less.
No, I will. I had a little issue watching it at one point, but I can watch it again, so that's good. Mm-hmm. And so Magic actually brings it up quite often because season 2 is coming out. You know, Magic's very stoked for that. So, but and then so now Lord is going to watch, Lord and Ren, excuse me, are both going to watch it probably still before you, Obby. So I'm excited.
I will watch it when they do. Okay. Let me know when you two watch it.
Right now, they're watching it already. No, I'm just kidding.
We're watching it right now. Oh, I'll go get my Blu-ray player. I'll be right back.
Where's the screen? Yeah,
I can vaguely contribute something to the anime thing too.
Oh, can you?
And I think I've mentioned this before, but I actually don't know if I've mentioned this to Rin before or not. There's an anime movie I watched about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and it was really good. It was called Sword of the Stranger, and I think that all of you would really like it.
What's it about?
It's basically about this guy who is like he's like a samurai, but like he's vowed to never unsheath his sword ever again, because of a trauma that haunts him. And he meets this kid that like these two armies, like the Chinese and Japanese armies, are trying to exploit for a certain power. They are very topical with the Chinese. Japan and China have always been at war with each other, so it was a very topical thing. But he ends up protecting the kid and saving him, and then like I don't know. It's just a really, really like nice, really sort of heartwarming movie, and like it's sort of like about him learning to connect with people again and being able to forgive himself for like the things that he went through in his past, and saving the kid from being used and exploited by hostile armies. Like it's just really good. I probably am not selling it very well, but I think all of you, especially for like anime, should watch it. I loved it.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very good. Yeah.
Would Arcane classify as anime or no?
It wouldn't classify as Japanese anime, but it is a cartoon.
It's very stylistically really similar.
I'm really excited for season 2 to come out.
I personally think Arcane sweeps like 99% of anime I've watched. Like, it's so good. But going back to Freerun for a second, because I want to make sure, Rin, have you and Lord watched Freerun yet?
No, we haven't. We've been slowly going through our anime list, which is like 5 years old. So we're watching the older anime first, and Lord has watched a lot more anime than me, so he's just like going through his list because he has an actual written book where he wrote everything out that he watched.
That's crazy. It's not like my anime list or Annie list exists where you can keep that all. No, we're gonna use a book.
Yeah, he's just using
Evan would do.
And he's got it all written out, and he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna watch this, and you're gonna watch this," and we've just been slowly going through it. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan on the early anime from like the 90s and the early 2000s.
I understand that wholeheartedly.
And Lord is like, "Oh, we can watch this one from like 2001." I'm like, no, thank you. I'd rather watch this modern day one, and he doesn't want to watch them until I watch the older ones.
It's like doing your homework before you get to go outside and play.
Yeah, pretty much.
I definitely think that now we have finished the watchathon of Lord of the Rings here on Skade recently. You guys should just bump up Freerun to the top of the list because it's already fresh in your mind with Lord of the Rings. And I think like anyone who loves Lord of the Rings will love Freerun personally. They are just super similar vibes. Yes, it's not the same world, but like everything else is like same races, same style of like character writing, in my opinion. Just more focused on an elf with autism more than it is on the humans.
She's totally autistic, yeah.
But it is definitely good. Crap, there was something else I was gonna say, but I completely forgot. Oh well. Continue on.
Well, and we do still have to watch The Hobbit, by the way. Like we've got to, even though like
Desolation
I
of Smaug
understand
is still my favorite.
Prime is being dumb and took it away from all of us, but yeah, we'll find a way, and I'm excited for that too. So yeah,
I just remember what I was gonna say. Sorry to cut you off, Blue. Along with what you were saying about how 90s and 2000s anime are not your favorite, my biggest hot take when it comes to anime, and a lot of people who actually watch anime are going to be very upset with me when I say this, Cowboy Bebop is pretty mid. Like it is very, very mid compared to anime nowadays, I feel. Anime itself has just gotten a lot better. A lot of shows have gotten a lot better. I still like the show. Like, I can go back and rewatch fight scenes from it and let's say, hey, that's badass. I love those fight scenes. But, like, I'm looking at the overall episodic nature of it, which I don't like episodic shows that much anyway. And also just, like, the overall arching themes of the show. I can get that. I can get, like, outrunning your past and coming to terms with your life and things like that. All great themes, but I just do not like, or I did not care for Cowboy Bebop as much as I care for other modern day shows now. Which, if I say that to anime watchers, I have offended at least 90% of people on Twitter. So I'm glad I can do it in the comfort here of Skader Things cast set.
You're safe with me, Obby.
You're safe here.
I'm glad I'm safe here.
one.
You can have your anime hot takes all you want here.
I have so many. I could go on. But instead of that.
I think that's really cool that you guys have a list that you work off of and like we're gonna watch this together. But I do have a question for you. Now you and Lord are both gamers, right? So that's how we got to know you guys. And you're both gamers. And I think it's really rad that you both like to play a variety of games. And I do have some friends who are married to gamers or dating a gamer. None of my friends are actually gamers, which is the funny end. So I only ever hear about the other side of it. And I know in like relationships, when you have like one gamer, like, my friend will say, oh, my husband's a gamer. He's in there wasting time with his friends on his computer. And, I hear that wife bitching, moaning session side of it. But as a gamer myself, I'm always very quiet. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But you guys are both gamers, and that's pretty rad. And I wanted to ask you, like, when it comes to, being married to a fellow gamer, do you guys each have your own like gaming areas? Or can you game in the same room together? Just how is your general setup so that you both can be doing what you love, but not at the same time, I guess, or at the same time is a better way of saying that.
Well, I'd say when I first met Lord over 10 years ago, I had a lot of gaming consoles, but I never really played on them. So I had the PS4, I had the PS1, I had the PS2, I had the PS Vita, I had like all the Wiis, I had like everything you could think of. So he, coming from I was a spoiled kid, totally, Evan. It's not like I actually and worked for those. No. But
8 years old, she had a job, Evan.
Yeah, I had a job, Evan.
Do you remember buying your first console?
No, because my first console was a hand-me-down. This is how I got all my consoles, Evan. I have family.
Yeah, Evan.
See, I remember working towards buying my first console because it was the Nintendo Switch. And to be fair, it's fairly recent compared to a lot of other consoles. But like when it first came out, I was 17 at the time, and it was the first time I ever had a job while a console was being released. So I was like, I'm saving up this paycheck for the Nintendo Switch, which was so nice. I remember buying it in calculus class. I literally got on my phone, was refreshing Best Buy constantly on launch day. I was like telling my teacher, sorry, not now. And I literally bought a Nintendo Switch in class.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
That's so you, Abby. That's funny.
To be fair, my calculus teacher loved me back in high school, so.
That's cool. Well,
so
how does it work with you guys? Because like we just played Among Us with you guys, and you guys are in the same room, I would take it.
Yeah, we have a spare room which has 3 computers in it, and a PS4 and a Wii setup.
Nice. The gaming room.
Yeah, it's
the
a gaming room.
Computer like a server, or is it just a spare computer?
It's just a spare computer that we have, and he uses for like very old games, like because it's actually got that DVD. You can actually insert DVDs into that one. Our computers don't have that, so he uses that for like really old PC games he has. But basically, a lot of the times that I'm on Skade or in calls, Lord's not far away. He's either right next to me playing on the PS4 or the computer, or he's downstairs playing on his Xbox or the Switch.
So how does that work as far as like talking though? Do you guys have each headsets? Is it like do you take turns? Like I'm going to be in a voice call, so I need you to like be quiet. Or he's like, I'm going to be playing with my friends over here. I need you to like be quiet. Like, do you guys just naturally work that out?
Yeah, we normally just work that out. Lord is more of a solo player. You won't really find him on many multiplayer servers. The difference between me and Lord is I'm a casual, like, multiplayer person. So I play games like Stardew Valley, Among Us, Minecraft, those types of games. I do play other games, which I have started doing this year. Again, thanks the Lord, he's been forcing me out of my comfort zone. But he is more a solo. You won't find him on servers often. He comes on Skade. He's enjoying like being on Skade every so often, but he prefers his single player, like, go play games that are like Dredge and like The Last of Us, things like that.
Okay.
He's that. He does come and join me a lot of the times. We played like Raft together, and again Starry Valley, Terraria. We play a lot of games together. It's very much he either plays with me or his friends' local co-op type stuff.
Gotcha. Well, in Mario Kart, you guys do play Mario Kart together, right?
Yeah, that we do play Mario Kart together.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we played with you guys. I just think it's cool. Like, I just love that you guys are both gamers and...
Ren's gone.
I got kicked.
No.
Oh, come back, Ren. Come back to us.
Blue, I told you to put the AFK...
Come back.
Oh my
goodness. This is funny. Come back from the dead, Ren.
The server just wasn't interested in anything Ren was saying. We were just censoring her. We said too much.
I have been censored by Skade Gaming.
We cut the cord.
We have been censored by Skade Gaming.
Here, let's give Ren some flowers. Come back, Ren.
Whoa, I can't believe you just gave her a cornflower and she appeared like that.
I know.
You gave her the most common flower in Minecraft, and wow, she comes
not the most
gnawing.
Common. I wouldn't call it the most common flower.
I mean, dandelion's not a flower, so
that's true. You're not wrong.
Don't be looking at me with that.
Before the server was so rude and kicked you off. So Ren, so I have another question too. Okay, so do the two of you ever play character games like where, and it could be something even like Mario Kart or something, where you both want to be the same character? Like I'm always like in certain games, I'm always certain characters and I have to be that character. That's just, I don't know if it's the autism or me or what, but I just have to be that one character. I won't play. Do you guys have anything like that where you both just happen to love the same character in a game, and so when you play together, one of you has to compromise?
Believe it or not, no, because Lord is the type of person to be like, oh, I'll just go random. He does that.
Okay.
he is chaos in the wind. I am like, oh, I fancy this. He's like, oh, I want to drink. Okay, I'm going to spin a random wheel and see what I get.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's probably a very good setup for you guys.
Yeah, it is, because I can just be like, I want this, and he's like, okay.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So awesome. Well, I did have one other question as far as gaming goes. And okay, so because again, having two gamers, and usually it's like, let's say one of my friends is like, oh, I need a budget for my nails and hair. And then, he's like, well, I need a budget for my gaming. Well, you guys both love gaming. So do you kind of like, let's say you're able to buy one new game a month, let's just say, just for like throwing out easy numbers. Do you guys have to take turns on that? Do you like the same types of games? Are you both into like fantasy games or, or see more into like fighting games? Or are you guys able to compromise easily on the games that you select when it is time to buy new games?
Yeah, often it's more Lord buying the new games. I have my, casual games that I stick with, but I do get like, sometimes Lord's like, oh, I want to buy this game. And I'm like, cool, buy that game. And then sometimes I'll be like, I want to buy this game. But majority of the time, it's normally Lord who wants to invest in new games, because he's, like I said, he's the more variety gamer. Right. He will play anything. Whereas I'm like, okay, I want to play.
You have your comfort games.
Yeah, I have my comfort games, and then I have like, oh, I want to buy, for example, Zoo Tycoon, and he's like, oh, okay, you can go do that. I'm not getting a game this month because I've got a million other games to play.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That sounds like you guys really compromise and work together on that, which is, that can be, like I said, I've only ever seen the other end of it where I just, like I said, we're like, oh, gamer spouses, and you guys game together, and that's really cool too. So yeah,
it's almost cool. Like communication skills are the best things for relationships, and that learning good proper communication skills helps a lot.
You're so not you staring at that camera.
It's not even
me staring at the camera while saying just obvious facts. Nah.
Who knew talking to each other could save
communication? We're autistic. What's that?
I think
you can barely communicate with a cat half the time.
I'd more kind of wager that it's not so much even like communication skill as it's finding how to communicate with each other. Everybody's different with what communication they need and what works. And if you find the right person and you find the right ways of engaging with them and listening to each other, that is the key.
I have
very good advice.
I have a very unpopular take.
I know it wasn't.
When it comes to just relationships in general, that I feel like a lot of communication breakdown happens because of two reasons. One, insecurity, or two, people are too prideful and are not able to grasp with the concept of having shame of anything. And I think that personally a lot of just like whenever I hear of my friends' relationships ending or hearing of like something going on behind the scenes, it usually always comes down to someone's not communicating their feelings properly because they are too insecure to talk about it, or because they are too prideful to talk about it. It's one or the other, in my opinion. There might be other options, but I've never really seen them personally.
I think it mostly boils down to that. I'm sure there were nuances, but I'd say in general that's it. And one quote that I read recently, because I was actually saying to Obby yesterday that like relationships, from my observations, are actually very transactional. But one quote that I did really kind of like, and I think that you'll all agree with this, is like, how did it go? I'm trying to make sure I get this right. It was talking about having like unspoken expectations on a person and how that forges a path of resentment. If you hold expectations to somebody but you never communicate them, it's like, oh, I want my partner to do this, but you've never even openly said that to them. You are building resentment in your head, and it's going to lead to that because you don't have the ability to come out to them and say what you want them to do. So you're holding them to this standard that they don't even know that you're holding them to because you haven't openly told them that's the standard you're holding them to. And I think that's a very big thing that happens too, is like people aren't very good at stating exactly what they want from each other. And I think that leads to resentment. And I think that sort of exacerbates bad communication and leads to other issues and is what leads to the sort of breakdown between both parties.
I can agree with that. And it's along that same line of like resenting. Once resentment sets in, it's very hard to get that back. It really is. And that's why like going into a relationship, like a big thing for me is you do not like it's kind of like how someone, the person that they are, and when you meet them, the person that they are, that's them. And if you ever go into a relationship with, well, I don't like this, but I could change that. I can get him to stop doing that. Or, I like these other qualities.
I can fix him. I can fix her.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly. That is a recipe for a future divorce
or
breakup.
Disaster.
Because in your head, you've already, number one, you're not accepting them for who they are. So just that's where you need to walk away. But two, it's like, the last thing and as autistics, sometimes we have quirks, we have things we do. And it's just the idea of like it being okay and okay and okay. And then one day it's just not okay anymore. And it's like, but this is who I've always been. And yet, now it's an issue, that kind of thing. And people just start to hold resentment. And then next thing you know, it's just,
I completely agree.
That's always my advice is don't ever think you can fix somebody.
I completely agree because it also it kind of is like, and I think this is something, I think it's okay, and we also were talking about this the other day as well, me and Obby.
Yeah.
It's okay to have deal breakers with people. It's okay to have things that make you go, I'm sorry, this won't work. I need to walk away.
Relationships while they're both single. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's very funny, but it's okay to have that. Because if you go into a relationship, and I don't even know why I'm saying all this because I've never been in one, but I've observed all of this. When you go into a relationship with the mindset of I can fix this person or I can change that, and sometimes changes can happen organically. Maybe you grow together and maybe the things that you would like them to have changed, they do change. But if you expect that from them, or you believe that you you alone can change them, you are completely wrong, and you are not willing to accept them as they are. You should be accepting of them, but always wanting to push them. There's a big difference with that. Pushing them means you're helping fuel organic change that they themselves want to go through. If they say, I want to quit, I don't know, smoking cigarettes, you might push them to help them achieve that. But if you were to go into that saying, you're going to stop doing that, you are making a big mistake. And so it's all about how you kind of weigh it and how you're kind of approaching that. And that, I think, is the big difference.
I think so too.
So now that the single people have been talking about it, what's the people who've been to be fair, I can say for certain what Evan is talking about is truly right. I was in a relationship where I didn't think it inherently, but like I did have it in the back of my mind with my ex that like I had this idea that like I could fix them in a way when really there was nothing that they needed to have fixed. It was just that their living situation was shit, to be fair. That was the only thing that was actually wrong. That they were just not in a good home, not in a good living situation. Everything about them else was fine. But for some reason, I had it in the back of my mind, like I can fix them. When looking back now as a more mature person, I say I'm mature. Maturer. I can see that like there was nothing that needed to be fixing, and I was just a shitty person for thinking that there ever was.
I think it's good that you can at least look at that, though. A lot of people come out of relationships in that same way and never even think twice. They just think that person was terrible, that person did everything wrong, and they just go into the next one with the same attitude. So the fact that you can at least reflect on that and apply that to any future relationship you have, I actually think is very, very good and is a very strong sign of maturity. So I think that's good.
It is good, Obby. I agree with that. And I think people, and it's, I think you going into that one, you're not alone. I think a lot of people do that, especially those first few relationships, because you know what you like and you know what you want, and you see some qualities in a person and you're like, oh, well, the rest, I can work with it. It's just our natural, like, I just cut myself off, didn't I? It's our natural ability to want to help someone be better, not realizing that they are who they are, and your idea and your vision of better for them might not be their idea and vision for better. And like Evan said, there's kind of, you can help people obtain things like to stop smoking, to eat better, that kind of thing. But personality changes or things like that that are just
impossible.
It's impossible, and they're going to get tired of trying, and they're going to end up resenting you for trying to please you when they're not them. And it's just a bad combination. So Obby, I agree. Very mature of you to already see that just in that one experience you're in. And we all need those experiences. Honestly, that's how we grow.
I'd also briefly add to that too, that I think a lot of people, at least especially with younger relationships, I think they kind of have this delusion of, I have found the perfect person, except for X, Y, and Z. They are perfect. This person's perfect, except for those things. And I think it takes people too long to realize you're never going to meet the perfect person. You have to meet the person that's perfect for you. And you have to be willing to put certain things aside and not let them discourage you. Like, you're not going to meet the perfect person. So there is no exceptions to the rule. There is no, well, they're perfect. They just need to fix this first. Like, no, that's not going to make them perfect. They're never going to be perfect. You just have to kind of go, are they perfect for me? Well, with these things, no. So, okay, walk away. That's, I think, the other thing people get wrong. And I've had that without even being in a relationship. I've had this view of people before of like, oh, this person's perfect for me. I just need to see if they would change this. And I realized, like, as I grew older, it's like, no, it's almost a good thing I wasn't even with those people, because I would have done that. It would have come off as very, very mean or very unsympathetic, and it wouldn't have been healthy. So it's like, I can at least look at that in myself without having been in a relationship and go, right, that's something that I will try to avoid doing when I sort of, start dating, because that is a very unhealthy mindset, and I think that does really cause a lot of damage in people.
Okay, sis boy. It's time for her to talk. She's been quiet. You're the guest this episode.
I'm a quiet guest. I'm sorry. I just like to listen to you guys talk, because, again, you guys have such different perspectives compared to me. I've been dating Laura for 10 years. We've been dating since we were 16. We grew together. We
Did you have any relationships before, Lord?
I did, but not like what you call a proper relationship. It's like at 15, 14, you're not really in a relationship. It's more, you don't see each other at school. It's not what I class as a relationship.
In, like,
you're more just
even
friends.
online. Yeah, a lot of them are online these days too. Yeah.
So, like, for me, I had the experience of, going through all that, growth, because at 16, you're still a kid. You're still growing. You're still mentally immature. And even at points, I won't lie, at points I was like, oh, okay, Lord's perfect. And then when I hit around, like, I'd say 2 years into the relationship, I was like, I can actually see myself staying with Lord. He is perfect for me in the ways that he's got his issues, but everyone does. And I just looked at Lord and I thought to myself, this is the guy I could probably spend the rest of my life with and not really have many quarrels, not have any really major issues. We were flat out with our opinions on things. Very early on, we knew what we wanted in a long-term relationship because we personally, from our own experiences, saw how it worked with our parents. And we were like, we don't want to be that. We don't want to be the people who don't talk to each other and then behind closed doors, yip yap, complaining, bringing things into it that's like building up that resentment and then just laying it all out over a spilt cup of tea or something,
Right.
So we went flat out with it. Like, it might be just an autism thing, it might be just the way we are, but we were flat out with what we wanted, and we were like, we're probably going to find out things about each other. We're still finding things out about each other. You're not going to know someone for, like, even if you've known them for 10 years, like me and Lord, you're not going to know everything about them. You're not going to know, you're going to see like a scar on their chin or something, and you'll be like, oh, where'd you get that? And then you'll be like, oh, I that happened to me in primary school. And you're like, oh, you never told me that. I was like, well, it never came up. You're not going to know everything about a person, even if you've been with them for the longest time.
And you're still growing. You are still, you guys are, and this is skaters hear me say this all the time. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, I wasn't who I was 10 years ago. We're continuing to evolve and change and grow. And when you can find someone like you two to grow together, to mature together, it's so awesome. It's just so rad.
That's valuable.
It is. It's goals. It's huge goals right there. So yeah, because you are both changing. You're going to continue to change and continue to grow, but you're doing it together versus apart and then trying to meet someone, that happens to be able to be in that same place you are.
I think that I kind of look at like Lord and Rin as a very good example of kind of what I want in life, because it's like it clearly isn't perfect. Like there's none of that sunshine and rainbows thing. In fact, I'm very distrusting of couples that appear like that. You're both your own people.
Same.
I think everyone has someone that they look up to in terms of a relationship. I know that for me, I look up to my stepsister and her husband as like my ideals for a relationship, specifically because 2 years ago, I went camping with them. And one of the things that stuck out to me was that my stepsister went up to her husband and said, hey, you want to go to a romantic walk to the gift store together? And I was like, that is literally the kind of relationship I want, where I can have that kind of just joking, sarcastic tone with them, and they will go along with it whatsoever.
Oh, for sure. It's like I think though, finding somebody you can grow with is really important. And I think that it's like, and the thing is that if you can't do that, you're going to grow beyond them. And one of two things is going to happen. Either things are going to come to an end, or one of you's going to walk away, or even worse, is you're going to try and force yourself to stay with that person, even though either they've grown out of you or you've grown out of them. And you're going to spend so much time trying to salvage what is unsalvageable. And you have to realize, okay, I just clearly didn't find a person I could grow with. I've moved on. I'm evolving in a different way that's completely opposite to how they are. And I need to find somebody who can be can be in tune with me as I am now, and find somebody who can continue to grow with me. I think that's very important, because if you don't have that there's going to be a big gap at some point, and that's going to be hard. And I've seen this happen.
I think personally, from what I've seen from like friends, family, I think people are afraid of being in relationships that might end. But the thing is, all relationships end. Like, this is just the sad truth. Either it ends in death or you split up. And in how I see things, even if me and Lord broke up, let's say in a year's time tomorrow, it doesn't matter. I would still appreciate the person he's helped me grow into.
Mm-hmm.
And that would help me. Everything I've learned from being in a relationship with Lord will help me pick my next, the next person I meet as my partner. I will already have those building blocks and know what to do. So while a relationship might end, it doesn't have to be a sad experience. No. Obviously, some relationships end badly, and that's a growing experience in its own right. But even a good relationship can end. That's just how life works. Sometimes you have different like wants and needs in life that aren't just about that relationship you're in, whether it's career or family,
external
whatever.
things.
Completely. It can be so many things. And I know multiple people I've talked to, and they tell me, "Oh, I don't want to go in a relationship. I'm afraid of it ending." And I'm like,
afraid of commitment is honestly
afraid of the commitment. Yeah. And I don't know what to say to them in those moments other than everything does end.
Everything ends.
Yeah.
And get off the platform on the train soon.
Yeah. It is literally enjoy the ride, because you don't know how long you've got with people, whether that's, family, friends, loved ones, whatever. Like, I don't know how long Skade's going to be around, but I'm definitely going to be here for as long as I can be.
Yep. And we're going to ride it and enjoy it every minute we have it.
I think you can apply this logic to everything. It's like, if you strive for perfect results, you are going to get disappointment, and it is going to be really badly. It's like, if I immediately kind of give it a perfect example, I started, and I'm really not trying to make this about climbing. This is just an example of a recent thing. When I started climbing, I didn't go into it thinking I'm going to become a professional climber, but what if I stop climbing after like 5 years? Like, what if I stop after like a year? It's like, well, but I didn't have that mindset, because for me, it's like, I'm just going to do this because I want to. I'm going to enjoy the process. And if I hate it and I don't want to do it again, at least I went and tried something. I currently love it. I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I love it. But if there comes a day where I get bored of it or I'm no longer enjoying it, well, that's okay. I have had so far some amazing experiences. I'll continue to have some great ones. But if it ends, it's not a wasted or bad experience. It's just okay, that's just not where my life is. So again, like 10 years ago, I was a swimmer, and that was my entire life. And that was what I was working towards. In fact, I was only a year into my nearly 10-year-long swimming career. Everything has to end some way, somehow. You just have to enjoy the process. And I think that being a young adult, especially, I think is about learning to not go for the perfect results or go for this imagined scenario, and just do things with kind of a naive optimism of like process. Like, I think a lot of us, especially young 20-year-olds, sort of talk themselves out of things because it needs to be perfect, or they need to reach X, Y, Z goal. But that puts them off entirely, or it makes them hate or resent the entire process to begin with. So it's better to just go into things blindly and just see where it takes you, I think, is sort of the better and more healthy way of doing it. And I found that like that's really paid off in my climbing. I haven't been like a massive perfectionist over it. I haven't been like putting pressure on myself. I've just been enjoying what I'm doing, and I think that's the best way to do everything in life, including relationships.
Yeah, I
people
agree.
Oh, sorry. Commitment, I think, is people make it out way scarier than it is to be. And I know personally I can understand, like, at least from my generation, I can understand why people view commitment to be very scary. Because like when I was growing up, my parents, I come from a family that both my parents are divorced. And I hear all the time on like TV about cheating scandals or of affairs or just like relationship breakdowns because of finances or all those kinds of things. And like the more and more you grow and watch that kind of media, the more and more you're going to like get scared of like commitment issues, or like especially when it comes to like females here in America especially. Like it's not a safe environment a lot of the times to be in the dating world as a female. And I've had long talks about this with a lot of my friends, where it is very scary going out and meeting people, especially because now meeting people is all done online. You're going to meet most likely your relationships or anyone who you are planning to do a relationship with on like Tinder or any other dating app or so. So it is very scary, and it definitely leads to like the idea that like commitment itself is scary because of everything that we have been introduced to in media, entertainment over these past few years.
I think that like we're kind of conditioned not to I think we kind of are conditioned into expecting that things have to be like dead
that
serious.
Wine glass is still on her head. She is so good at balancing it.
I think the idea of having a casual relationship, and no, I'm not talking about that one thing. I'm just talking in general. I think
Why are you looking at me?
having a Obby.
Not me, Obby. That Obby.
She's a married woman. Look at Obby.
Wait, no, I don't want to be in a relationship with Evan. I'm turning around. Hi, alien.
I think having a casual relationship isn't really portrayed very well in media, because it's either portrayed as either something that only losers do, or it's portrayed as like this only like one activity. But it doesn't have to be that. I would say most good relationships start in a very gentle, very like casual pace. There's no seriousness. We're just having a couple of dates. We're just having a nice time. We're getting to know each other. I think that's the best way to start them, because that's how you organically grow and kind of learn what you want out of each other, like where you want to go with things. I think people kind of see relationships as the second that I pursue a woman, we are now basically on the trajectory that we have to get married, we have to move in together, we have to do things a perfect way. And it's like, no, actually you don't. If anything, that's going to wear you down. And I've made the mistake of viewing things like that before. I'm only kind of recently learning that things don't have to be really serious or really sort of, well, yeah, serious, I guess, is the only way I can really word it. And it doesn't have to be like that at all. It can be a very sort of gentle and very sort of like slow process, and just done at your pace and the way you want. And I think that's the best way to do it. So
you're very wise, sir.
Thank you.
So wise for dating for someone who has never dated before.
Never dated.
Anyways,
because he observes. He's an observer. He lets everybody else fuck it up, and he watches and goes, "I'm not doing."
I watch from the sidelines, and I am a bystander syndrome.
As long as it's not from the windows, we're good. Yeah.
I learn from it. I'm an observer block.
One, can he detect the redstone signals?
I observe everything. Well, I definitely am somebody who learns from watching from others. Obviously, I do make my own mistakes and will continue to make my own mistakes. But I definitely would say, especially with relationships, I learn from watching others. I've watched relationships go horribly wrong. I've watched stuff happen, and I've just kind of been able to go, okay, that is not how I'm going to approach things. And I can kind of go, what did they do wrong?
The observer on your head looking directly at the camera is so funny. I cannot take you seriously with that on.
Fine, I'll take it off.
I still can't take you seriously with that on either.
Hang on.
Right, Willie. Excuse me, this is a closed set. There's no building on this set.
Shut up.
Well, making it come all full circle.
Yeah.
As probably you guys might know, my favorite anime to watch is romance anime. I am huge into just romance genre, and it is my guilty pleasure most of the time. But two of my favorite romances, in terms of anime and manga, are one has an anime adaptation, but the other one is only a manga. The first one is Horimiya, which Horimiya is a anime or a manga. I definitely recommend reading the manga over the anime. Of basically these two high school girl and boy that hide who they are truly to themselves at school. Like, one of them is a full-on going to be a soccer mom in the future, and the other one is very not edgy, I would say, but he dresses like a troubled teenager. He has a lot of delinquency looks to him, but he himself is a sweetheart and everything. So it's about these two people who hide their own like faces and everything in public and working to become a relationship together. It is honestly some of the best like communication, wholesome stuff that I've ever seen in romance anime, period. The second anime is the exact opposite of that, called How Do We Relationship, which is a lesbian manga of two college girls who get together because they're in the same band together. And we basically see how lack of communication destroys a relationship. And I'm not going to spoil as much of it, but like it shows them literally just progressing through life on how to learn how to relationship. That's why it's called How Do We Relationship, obviously, because they are like learning where they went wrong in their past relationship together, and they're applying those skills to their current relationships. And right now it's like it's coming full circle right now in the manga, but it is those kinds of relationships where they have just like genuinely good communication, genuinely good practice of like working together, compromising, and just like being great and wholesome and like love each other, that I personally love. Two other great recommendations are Blue Box and The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, in case you guys want more of those.
It sounds like a very interesting idea as a show.
Mm-hmm. And I genuinely rate Horimiya as probably one of my top 10 anime of all time, even if I do like the manga better because the manga actually like stretches out more than the anime does. It is literally the most perfect blend of like wholesome communication, great humor, and like a bunch of other aspects that like I don't see anywhere else in anime, because they try to cater it to a younger demographic, a more okay, this is going to sound very, very mean. And I might have to bleep this out. But a lot of romance anime caters towards an incel ideology of like every time that it is an anime of a guy who is extremely shy, has never had any relationship experience, has never even talked to a girl once before. And so you see that constantly and constantly and constantly and constantly and constantly in every single anime that you watch in terms of the romance genre. It becomes very, very, very boring. It is the worst trope, in my opinion, to just not have the guy have any relationship experience, have no social experience whatsoever. And because that is not what makes a good relationship. Yes, by the end of the anime, after you have watched 300 episodes, they might have better communication skills. But I want to see how they do if they have good communication skills already at the beginning. I'm sorry, this is also one of my things that my big anime hot takes. So
I think like it's interesting because
thank you.
See, I wonder though if maybe there's an oversaturation of that in anime, because most media don't really like appeal to that kind of like thing. Like most media doesn't really explore that kind of trope of like sort of like incel type man navigates relationship. Like it's not really covered in media, so maybe that's why it's so oversaturated in anime.
Oh yeah, it is oversaturated in anime, especially because anime itself is Japanese themed. Or not Japanese themed. It's Japanese themed, guys. No. It's all like one of the biggest things with anime is that they are marketing it towards Japanese people. And if you've known anything about Japan over the past couple years, even decades, they have declining birth rates and a lot higher of a particular rate that is not I cannot say on YouTube, that it has led to a point where like people in Japan, especially men, are not going out to seeking relationships with women because they are too obsessed with work. They did not develop proper social skills and stuff like that. That's why it's catered to them, because that is what the problems they are facing.
They can relate to that. Yeah, they can relate.
But as an outsider, I can't. Like, I want to see good relationship skills. Is that too much to say? Is that?
No, it's not.
No,
Thank you. This is a safe space.
This is a safe space.
I think sometimes in media that would actually be really good too, because other people could use that as like a guidebook. Because whether we like it or not, people do imitate media. We shouldn't really take it at face value because media will exaggerate things. Media will usually fictionalize
Don't be Homelander, sir.
But, however, we could. But so in my opinion, like not all media, because again, media is fictionalized and we need to understand that. But I do think that we could make more efforts to have things like that portrayed, because people will imitate that subconsciously. People will go, oh, like this is how that worked. That worked really well in this. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a lot of social experience.
Especially if you don't have experience. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
That's
you might see it as,
it
well, this is how this guy acted. And
right.
Yeah,
it's like,
monkey see, monkey
we don't.
do.
And we shouldn't, right?
We
shouldn't
lesbian once, and now we have this.
Yeah, you done fucked up. I'm just kidding.
I done fucked up.
I'm on the honey block.
They're on their honeymoon together right now.
What the hell? Oh God.
Yes.
It's fine. I'm just not even going to comment.
You and your observer are doing just fine over there.
I'm just going to observe things right now.
The observer's not looking at them right now. You gotta change where the observer's looking. There we go. Now you're observing.
Just taking a good gander. This is
sometimes
how I like.
You just need to sit by your friend on a honey block. Sometimes
I spy on my friends who are in relationships, and this is how I learn. I use my observer block as like a little camera.
That's why
I have a camera at all times, recording them without consent.
It's all good until you see him outside your window.
Yeah, it's just normal. It's just part of the fun.
I'm learning, officer. Don't arrest me.
Blue,
Evan just brings the girl back to his bedroom, and then he just looks under his bed. He's like, Blue, Rin, I need some advice.
I need some advice.
You're gonna DM. I love that idea. It's like, oh, she's in bed, she's getting undressed. I'm gonna DM them real quick. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Hey, that's my friend something. Hold on.
Sorry, I need to go.
I'm
having a bowel movement right now. And then just goes into the restroom and texts you.
No, he would just lean over his bed and talk to us. That's where he stores all of his friends, is under his bed.
That is so true.
Man.
Blue, do you want to do something?
Yes, let's do something. What's up?
Okay, follow my lead. TLDR, if you're going for her because she has a fat ass and daddy issues, don't do it. Now, what is it for guys?
Oh no.
I'm putting you on the spot. Improv, let's go.
TLDR. If he says he's a really nice guy, and seems to have no red flags, run. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's, you know what? That's actually a really good point, because that is
everybody needs to have red flags. Actually, red flags is the correct word. They need to have faults. You know what I mean?
They need to have flaws. They need to have something.
I like red flags,
though. Your flaws. Okay, you know what flags works, because it's the people that hide their flags, that say they're nice guys. That's where we get like, you know, that's where you need to run. Just say it how it is. I'm a jerk.
The biggest red flag.
I'm a dick, but I'm really nice.
The biggest red flag is definitely advertising you're a nice person. Like, everybody gets this wrong. It's like, if you're a nice person, show people.
You don't
need to tell people.
Show, don't tell.
Just know.
You know, my date will know that I'm a nice person when I am like really polite to the waitress, and when I show manners to the people around me. That's when they'll know. I don't need to say, "Hey, good thing you picked me because I'm a nice person."
And that's really it's true. It really, well, it is. It's a very narcissistic thing, and it's true though. Like, you'll see in like dating apps where people will put that they're like nice guy, and you're like, next, like, because it's just one of those, like, to me that is a red flag. You know, it's like,
but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we often get that thing of nice guys finish last, but it's often because people advertise that, and people who are very sensible and have seen people like that decide not to entertain that. So it's like, even if you aren't that type of nice guy, don't say that you're a nice guy anyway, because that is just, you're more likely to put people like off because of that, and it comes off in the wrong way. It's like, just show people through action, and I wouldn't even say I'm the nicest person, but I do my best, and I think that is a more honest and more like, more kind of, you know, a better way of looking at it.
Let someone tell you you're nice, like, because like really great guys, you'll be like, you are like so sweet, you're the nicest guy, and they're like, no, I'm not really, you know. You know, exactly. And you're like, that's what you want, because when it's advertised, it's like, you know, so that's mine. Thank you, Obby.
It's like, it's not a competition. You don't have to tell people you're the fastest runner. It's like, they'll find that out when you actually
fly right by them,
staring deeply into each other's eyes.
Exactly.
I am going to put like a lesbian pride flag and zoom in on you two and post.
Lord's here too. He's just with us in spirit.
You know what?
Sorry,
I also
Lord.
think it's
actually that's kind of funny.
You know,
Today we are exploring polyamory. Rin, can you tell us your experience with it?
0.
Are you sure?
Out.
We're about to find out today.
Oh my god. This is what we really get up to on the podcast.
It started in Among Us with not killing each other.
This, I mean,
as all
stranger things have happened.
Every good relationship starts
with
not murdering each other.
Whoa. Did you just say Stranger Things?
I said stranger things have happened, as in like when you've talked about a relationship starting from Among Us. I'm like, stranger things have happened, but he's like, whoa, did you mention Stranger Things? It's like, well, I guess technically.
Speaking of, did you see that 11 got married? And I'm sitting here like, how? She's still 8 years old. Like, it just blows my mind.
I saw that like I think it was a few months ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but
I
was
just
meme crazy.
Of like what 11 I saw a meme of what 11 is going to look like if like hypothetically they reached like season 16 and it's just Keanu Reeves. And it's just like, okay, I don't know anything about Stranger Things, but that makes sense to me.
I love Keanu Reeves. It's funny.
I'm still so sad that I never got to see what's the band called again? Dog Car. What is Keanu Reeves' band called again?
Shoot. I'm looking it up. I know.
Because they were performing here where I was, but it was the day after the Cage the Elephant concert.
His band.
Yeah, Dogstar.
Dogstar. Yeah. I wanted to say Dog Call too. Dogstar.
I was thinking Dog Car.
That was so. Can you imagine? I would be so mad if I missed that. Like, that's one of those things. Does it haunt you? Because that would haunt me.
Not really.
Like,
because
20 years from now, you're gonna be like, did you know I could have seen Keanu Reeves?
I mean, to be fair, the reason is because that was right when I started using my knee scooter, and it was at the state fair, so it would have been extremely hard to get around anywhere at the state fair.
Performing at the state fair, that's like just above like casinos. The poor thing.
It was awesome. That would have been awesome though to see.
Yeah, well, I would almost fly to go see him. Like, I
don't know.
Big. My Discord bio is literally a Keanu Reeves quote. Like, I love him.
You know what? Speaking of casinos, I'm gonna do this weird. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Do you guys have like something similar to state fairs in the UK, like festivals?
Oh, I'm all answering.
Well, this is an interesting one, Rin. I think you should go first here because I have an answer to that, but I'm interested to hear yours first as a guest.
He wants to know the rest of the country, not just his town. Sorry, Evan.
Yeah. Evan wants to know more than just his like 5-mile radius.
Basically.
I've seen a few, but mainly in bigger areas like Nottingham, for example, a very big,
Yeah, like in the
say that word again. Say it.
Nottingham.
Oh, we say it so different, don't we, Obby?
Nottingham?
Yeah, we say it like Nottingham, like
Nottingham.
We also say like Manchester, and you guys say what? Manchester. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's that? Alabama? Birmingham. We say Birmingham.
Yeah, I was actually going to give a very similar answer to Rin. It's definitely something that you will see in cities, but really the closest thing we really have here, and this is more of a rural thing, we have what's called summer fates, and they're like little like fairs that we have like in villages where like the entire village goes. You have like stalls where people have like fun little games to play. You have like.
Do you guys have deep fried Twinkies and Oreos like here in America?
You have like face painting booths. Like it's
Do you eat
very,
turkey
very
legs
like,
here?
Do you guys buy lemonade that has more sugar in it than what you need
literally
for like an entire week?
Diabetic. Yeah, and corn dogs that have so much oil in it, like you just slide out.
They're very like. They're very like. Ours are just very, very like low key.
Yeah.
But every fate is kind of like different, like depending on the village, depending on the town. But like most towns have them, and they're probably like the closest thing I can think of outside of like what you'd see in the big cities that like the UK has.
Wow. We have county fairs, we have state fairs, and then we have like in little towns, like we get those like pop-up carnivals in the, in the parking lots like where like one day it's just a Walmart parking lot, the next day there's like rides that children are on and you like see bolts popping out and you're like, wow, you just don't go on those rides. But
we
I
have
do anyway.
them here, it's just not as popular.
It's not as they're not as crazy. Yeah, I would agree with that. They're not as crazy.
State fairs are pretty badass though. You get like
I love state fairs.
You get like really good bands that come and like I know sometimes they'll do like the Demolition Derby, which is always fun to go see, and then you get like the whole countryside, like where you go and see like animals. There's like for the what's that group? Magic would know if Magic was here. Was it 4-H or something? They come and do their like cow competitions, and there's such like an eclectic thing. Like the fairs just have so much. They have like actual roller coasters, big rides, lots of food, as Obby and I mentioned. Fairs are known for.
It just sounds like America does everything bigger.
We do.
So I've gone to like 2 different state fairs in my life. I've gone to my home state, Indiana State Fair, which it's pretty good. But then I went to Minnesota State Fair because I was visiting my aunt around the time that we went there. Their state fair is on steroids compared to Indiana.
Yours is huge. That's one of the biggest ones, isn't it?
Yeah, Minnesota is. It's like the 3rd biggest one, I think, in the country.
I have a friend that lives
my God, it was so fun. Like I couldn't even get through like half the things there by the time that we had to leave.
It's like a 3-day event if you want it. Yeah, exactly. Yep, Arizona State Fair is pretty big too, and you can't get through all of it in a day. You just can't. So
well, there was another thing. So one thing that happens at like state fairs here, especially like here in Indiana, is that we have in our state fairs like root beer carts, or soda carts, where people bring in an entire like wagon. And it is filled with just like a bunch of like different kinds of sodas. You have sarsaparilla, you have like original root beer or like flavored sodas and stuff like that. They're not like your traditional sodas, not like Coca-Cola or anything like that. And one of the cool things you can do is you can buy a cup there, and that cup works for lifetime for refills.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I can just bring my cup to the state fair every time I want to go and just buy $4 refills, have refills for the entire day whenever I go. The weird thing is that I found out when I went to my first convention, they also have that at one of the anime conventions I go to. And so I have bought a cup, and every time I go to that convention specifically, I will make sure I pack that mug so I can get like free sodas for the entire weekend long of the convention. And it is so nice. I think that is something that they should do at like every convention or fair, because I don't see it at every convention, but they really should do it at every convention.
They should do that with everything, like even at Target, right? You're gonna go like BB would spend 2-3 hours at Target just walking through it, and they always have like a Starbucks there, but they should do that where you can have your Target cup and just for $2-3 go fill it up, and yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. And don't worry, I'm about to turn a Moodle away from this episode, but they should do that at Costco too. Sorry, Moodle. Sorry.
Well, Costco's already $1.50 for a soda and a hot dog. It can't really get much cheaper at Costco.
$1.50 for life.
There you go. If you could buy like a lifetime card, can you imagine for like $50 or something, get a lifetime card?
Imagine if your membership had just free hot dog and drinks.
Oh man, I'd be there I already am there a lot, but yeah, I'd be there every weekend.
I would be there so much more often.
I love Costco hot dogs. I'm sorry, Moodle. I love you.
We love you, Moodle, but we love Costco hot dogs more than you.
No, not more. We just love them equally. No,
I love them more than you.
Hey, they're cheap and they're yummy and they fill up your belly and
listen,
cheap, so.
I just love having a 1/4 pound of wiener in my mouth. Okay, is that wrong?
Okay, Maud.
Hey, boo. I'm kidding. Love you.
All right. Well, it's almost near the end of this episode. Rin, you've been a great guest today.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I am very glad that our first guest was you. You have brought like a lot more to the table in terms of like things that we can talk about and such.
Yeah,
and it's nice to have someone else who knows about anime here. So
When are we doing?
Don't worry,
part
Skade.
2?
I will be here next time, and the time after that, and the time after that. It's not getting
She's going to be
I'm
replacing the
actually-
alien there, right? Actually,
Yeah.
Rin is
I'm
going
permanent member
to.
now.
Well, you know what? Actually, guys, I think this is a perfect time to announce that I'm actually going to be stepping down as the co-host because Rin is replacing me, just like birthday team. So see you guys later.
guys,
Oh,
we lost
God,
our
I'm
straight
so-
male representation.
I'm so glad he's gone.
Yeah, the three of us together is team bi. We're all bi. So Evan,
Yeah, but we need to
Joy,
have him
you
to
just
make
had-
sure
you
we
just
can
had to
get
make it about
better
sexuality,
viewership.
didn't you?
we need a little bit of balance here.
We need a little bit of balance. That way we
yeah.
have more relationships.
That
Oh my
is
goodness.
pretty
I
funny,
can't
though,
wait till
because-
next June when we have a Pride episode.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna
We're
be-
gonna have to
that's gonna
record
be a
that
lot
in
of fun.
advance though, so that way we have it directly when it lines up with the release. Or
Yeah,
we will
we'll
have to
do that.
release it above schedule. One of the two.
We can do that. Nobody will know. I
Mhm.
won't tell anybody. Would you tell anybody?
You guys
No, I
won't tell
won't.
anyone, right?
Nobody will know. We could record it
What
tomorrow.
we are going to do is we're going to get everyone from each letter of the alphabet to compete in a trivia game show to find out who is the most queer among us.
The most queer on Skade.
Who is the most queer on Skade?
I've noticed
Wait, that sounds
our
like a
team
good idea. I'm going to do that in content
Bye?
team. I'm writing that down.
do that. Yes, bi representation's been up. I've noticed. It seems like, or maybe I'm
Yeah.
just paying more attention now, but it does seem like we have more, and we're getting more guys that are bi, which are that's really fucking
Yeah,
rad,
it's
so.
I'm no longer unique. It's sad.
Yeah, but you're
Lord's
still
also
unique to us. Yeah, Lord's bi. So, yep. Evan, stay away.
Fine.
Wait, you're telling me another anime weeb who's into single player games is bi? I mean, what?
Run away, Lord. Run away.
Next time we'll have Lord on the podcast. It's just constantly me hitting on Lord.
We should have gotten both
Making
of them.
Rin
This
uncomfortable.
was such a missed
Well, to be
opportunity.
fair,
we're gonna have to have you back with Lord.
Rin reacted before Lord did, and we decided to get Rin on before Lord ever reacted to being on the podcast.
Rin, we decided to get you on before we even asked anyone if they wanted to be on, if we're being honest. So
Yeah, we
these two
basically
love
had
you
this
so
on-
much.
we
Not
had
me,
you
Rin.
in-
I hate you.
he just loves Lord.
I unfortunately simp over Rin and feel like, because Rin insults me all the time, it felt like I had to kind of give in and let Rin have a place on the podcast. So
Yeah.
I just wanted all of you
Plus,
to
he
know
did
that
take
I
your
can
spot on the
be.
birthday team, so
I'm a sucker for punishment. So unfortunately, I brought this on myself.
It says the
Well-
guy who started this friendship with fighting. Jeez.
that's true. Missiles
Either
were
way.
fired, shots were fired.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you,
Agreed.
everyone, for tuning in to this episode. Oh, wait, Blue's the one who
No,
did the
thank
intro.
you.
Blue, you have to do the
Oh.
outro too.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Wait, how does Dusty
Look
say
at the
it?
camera.
No.
Make eye contact
Oh.
with the camera.
I don't want to
Make eye contact. Mwah. Mwah.
Aw.
Kiss.
Thank you for watching our fourth, or what's it, watching? Listening? Thank you for watching and listening. I forget, we do bob around a little bit. Our fourth episode of Skader Things. Well, you guys were just talking about Stranger Things.
That is
I
true.
haven't got married. I'm sorry. I'm so mind blown by that. And thank you, Ren. A huge thank you for being on and being our first ever guest. It's very exciting, very fun. We look forward to having you back again. And
No. Oh,
please
no.
like and subscribe
No.
and ring that bell. Oh,
No.
it's coming out.
I think, thank God I have.
This is what Ren and Evan do. So
Bell gang.
I have my Minecraft
Bell
sounds
gang.
muted anyway.
I do too. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So thanks for
Oh.
tuning in. Peace out.
Peace out.
Ring, ring, ring.
Bye.
I'm kidding.